talking about your part-time job.
No, we shouldn't, and we shouldn't, Jay.
Is
And
that
we
gonna get
shouldn't.
does that get us canceled out? Is that what it's called?
Sure. Well, guaranteed you will.
Canceled culture?
It's more than canceled culture. It's just canceled.
Well, we never gonna get canceled because we have the late night restaurant show.
Yeah, well,
They don't
they'll find a
they
way,
don't look
Jay.
late night. You know, I was thinking that we should have a pajama night.
I'm not doing that, Jay.
Why
I
not?
I barely look presentable in regular clothes. Never mind in pajamas, man.
You know, I
Are you gonna wear
well,
your onesie?
yeah, I was gonna say I'll wear my onesie if you wear your onesie.
Do you have rabbit ears on yours?
I swear to God. Do you have pizza stains on yours?
Yes.
This
Well, I live alone now, Jay. So yes,
I was gonna say the
everything,
gold neck is it a
everything.
gold necklace and a wife beater shirt and some
No,
stains? No?
it's just.
Sopranos?
I have those, but I don't wear them.
Anyways, we have a great guest. Yes, we always forget about our guests after a while. We get bickering at each other.
No,
We got a
no.
great guest.
One of us
You know
forgets
what?
about her.
I hope you did your homework. Mm, mm, mm. You
You know
didn't,
what
did you?
makes our not a podcast good is the spontaneity of all the things we
Is
do.
is this like we call it like a surprise podcast? Maybe we should change the title.
Maybe you know what? That's
Hey,
not a podcast.
it worked for that guy that was on CNN.
Who, Chris Cuomo?
No, the old guy that died. Larry King.
Well, don't compare us to Larry King. Holy shit!
Hey, it worked for him. He did well. He never learned about his guests. Maybe you're like the Larry King of late night restaurant show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Larry
Anyways,
King. Larry King saying, "Holy shit!" The
yeah,
idiots
he
that
just
compare
rolled.
themselves to me.
He just rolled. Just rolled in the grave. Anyways, we got a great show, everyone. Late night show. Dominic, we're gonna do the intro because I think our guest is gonna leave. We never had a
Yeah.
guest leave yet,
No,
and then we come back.
let's not make this a
Let's
first
start
either.
that. Nope, nope. Do you think he'd guess why we call it not a podcast?
Well, he's probably looking it up right now. He's probably searching
You can Wikipedia it.
the
Trust me.
show archives to see what how does this
Yeah,
come up.
exactly. You could probably use AI.
Mm.
Hmm. Anyways,
And
speaking
AI
of,
comes back. I don't know what's it called. Chat GPT says, "What the f are you thinking? That's
yeah,
another
yeah, exactly. Don't do this show.
one. Run, disconnect, unplug all your devices."
All right, we'll be right back. Here we go. Welcome,
What's going on, guys? I like that music, man.
Dominic's late night side gig. He has to play that once in a while.
It's getting me in the
Well, yeah, that's we only when the episodes go longer than a minute, Jay, we get to play that.
Anyways, Sebastian, welcome
Well,
to the late night restaurant show. Yes, welcome to
disregard
our
anything Jay
yeah,
says, just so you know, right? Just most of what
yeah,
Jay
just
says
ignore
is
it. Well,
just
wait till
crap.
Dominic says his big-winded questions. Here coming. You're
Jay,
warming up.
Sebastian, where are you
Yeah.
joining us from? Let's talk about you and not Jay anymore.
For sure. Miami, Florida.
Wow, sunny Miami,
Yeah.
cool. And tell us about you and what you a little, just like a kind of the 1 minute
Well,
elevator
1 minute,
pitch.
guys.
Kinda.
I've been in the restaurant industry since 2005. Own operated restaurants. Did that crazy stuff when I was really young. That I thought that I could do 3 shifts and at the same time with one when opening a restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that drove me nuts for a while. And then after that, went on and opened. But that first restaurant I opened actually was in Guatemala City. That's where I'm originally from in
Oh
Central
wow.
America. Then
Wow.
after that, moved to Miami and opened another restaurant there. I swore that I was never going to get into it again, but I did, as all of us in this industry, we just can't get out. And then after that, we partnered with these other guys from Mexico in Miami, and we opened more restaurants. And then we kept opening that what that concept, and the company acquired another concept, and then we grew more and became a hospitality group, so been I went through all that stuff, and then I stepped out of operations at some point when I was sick of it because it was just a lot. And then I got into to where my roots were, which is marketing. So I was the head of marketing for the group for a long time, a bunch of years, and continued to grow that that restaurant group. And then until I stepped out and I saw that other restaurants needed help with marketing because a lot of agencies didn't know what the hell they were talking about when it comes to restaurant marketing, because you need to understand the restaurant business. So we started helping restaurants. Actually, it happened during COVID. I was kind of forced into that situation. That's the truth. You know what I mean? Because like restaurants ran out of money. So what was
Mhm.
it was just the progression of things that happened at that time. So those guys were our first clients, and then we just started growing and working with different restaurants across the U.S. And we help them with strategy, and then setting everything up for them, and just running their marketing.
Does it,
Cool.
Sebastian, do you find that people that work in the industry, like that have actually been in a restaurant, and hold on, this may be a dumb question. I'm pulling a Dominic. Is that you find that people, like you said, the agencies sometimes don't know what they're doing when they're working and marketing for restaurants. Do you find that people that are in marketing but come from the industry so much more better?
I think so because they understand how whatever you're going to implement at a restaurant, you need to know how it's going to happen. If you
Mhm.
don't know what's happening and you come up with this great ideas, and then your ops team's going to hate you. They're going to tell you to fuck off, basically. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
because you need to understand what's happening. So sorry.
Without pointing fingers at all.
Yeah.
So we went through a lot of that during my days and in this group, and the thing with ops and marketing, we just needed to communicate constantly. So you need to understand what you're doing, and you need to understand the systems as well.
Yeah.
There's so many restaurant systems are different than any other platforms. It's not e-commerce. Restaurants are very different, so you need to understand how platforms work, how to track as close as possible, because restaurants, again, it's not e-commerce, it's not a straight path, but you need to understand how everything connects, and how to set up the tracking system so you can really measure success.
Restaurants are complicated, I think, from a marketing perspective.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
and
That's do, do, yeah. Like, to
Here
continue
it
at
comes.
Jay's point. Well, no, just to continue with your point, Jay. I had an experience. I'll tell you off air when we're done about a marketing experience recently. But um, I think I think it's important that restaurants understand the people they're working with, and that they have a process, and not one size fits all, right?
mm-hmm.
And I think marketing in general, it takes a long time to understand a business, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if they're promising sort of this, yeah, we're gonna do this and this, and here's how it's gonna happen, bing bang boom, it's unlikely it's gonna happen like that. It's not gonna unfold like that for you. And then you're gonna be questioning marketing in general, right? Like, well, what should I do? Because this didn't work.
Yep.
To your point, everybody should have a podcast. Like, I think me and you align on a lot of
Well,
things. No, but I
I'm
think
gonna have to
getting
rephrase that.
your
'Cause I was
message out
listening.
there, right? Like, don't stop.
Well, I know. I gotta rephrase that, Don, because I listened to a podcast the other day. I think it was either Gary Vee or Michael Stelzner, and one of them had an expert on, says not everyone should have a podcast. And here's the thing, though. I'm on a fence now, Don. I may have to take that back, because some people just shouldn't have one.
No, you're
And
probably right. But Jay, wait a sec.
okay, we're gonna dig deep in this.
No, I
Sebastian, we'll be back to you in a minute.
just okay. Like, I might not be the right guy for Safe Check, but if you were representing my brand, or
Yeah,
Sebastian was doing it for me, then it might be a good thing.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't.
No, that. Yeah. Not
Yeah, yeah.
everyone. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right. So
Okay.
and it's not the person now. We're talking the business, right? The business should get out there. You should be promoting yourself all day long, like you're doing
100%.
it inside your business, right? You're talking to the guests, you're talking to people, you're talking to vendors. You're talking to your neighbors. They know what you do. So, like, amplify that message. I think, yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
just don't
important.
think everyone
And
should
if you're the wrong
do it.
person to do it, for sure. But we talk about this as well. There's somebody inside your business that could do that. You probably have a server, or a chef, or a cook, or somebody, somebody in accounting. Who knows the talent that you might have within? And then if you connect with somebody like Sebastian, then
Well,
then
maybe Sebastian
awesome.
has a different take on this. What do you think?
I won't direct your servers to do social media, dude. Sorry.
What's that? You won't what?
I wouldn't direct the servers to do social media marketing.
No, okay.
We've tried it. It failed every single time.
Okay.
It's bombed.
Who could it be? Who would it be?
No, well, you need to hire. I mean, if you're asking me who could be a
No,
marketer within the
I'm
restaurant,
with you. We do that as well. We have pros that do our posts, and we approve them and we look at them
yeah,
because we should, right? We have
sure.
it has to align, but over time that process gets better and better, because the company you're working with knows who you are,
Yeah.
so they know your style, they know about your business.
Yep.
So, no, I'm with you on that part. But I think, from getting your message out there, there's right and wrong for sure. But should
Mhm.
we be getting our message out? Maybe is the bigger question. Like, we should all, like, I think every business has an obligation to let people know who they are.
Yeah.
You can only grow so much from word of mouth, you know,
Mhm.
sort of the four walls marketing, or whatever that's used to be called. I don't know what they used to call it, something like that.
Yeah.
Is that what they called it? I don't know.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Did you
Okay.
drink? Did you
No,
drink this afternoon?
I'm trying to say people should
You're
hire.
dusting off the most incredible question strategy ever. Okay, Christ. Oh my God, Sebastian. So let's talk. I wanted to ask you some questions because you're in the marketing, you help restaurants. What do you see as we're getting right into the back end here, or the last quarter of the year, for this calendar year? And we see a lot of restaurants in Canada. We just got some crazy numbers that came out recently of possibly the industry slowing down just a tiny bit in next year. And it's also depending on the election you guys are having here, and it's going to affect Canada a little bit. By the way, good article someone wrote today about that, Dominic. But I have to say, what's your forecast that you see in the first half of 2025?
Well, listen, man. What I see with what I see with our clients and everything that's happening there, I think there's definitely a slowdown. More than anything, just because labor costs and food costs are so high. So restaurants are just very tight on margins. And also, since everybody has increased their prices, consumer spending is down, right? Because they can't visit the restaurant as much as they did before. I mean, it's something that had to give, right? And that's giving. And we're also seeing a lot of innovation and a lot of, restaurants changing their operations because you're heading in either two ways, right? So you're heading either streamlining absolutely everything in your restaurant so you can stay, still provide the value and the service and everything that you need to, and go like the more of the fast casual route,
Yeah.
or providing more of an experience in every way possible, right? So then whatever you're charging for that experience can be accordingly. So those two things I see happening, and I just spoke to a restaurateur in New York, and that's what they're doing with their concept. It's a French, bistro type of concept. They have, I think, about 8 locations,
Mhm.
and what they're doing is they're adding more of the experiential component to their restaurants. So the wine tastings, the wine classes, like all of these different things, so that they can
Mm.
justify also their pricing and experience and kind of go that route. Then on the other hand, they also own coffee company. So basically, they have a few coffee shops, and what they're doing also is bringing in a component of, getting into fashion stores and things like that, and kind of tie it into that experience as well. So even though that's a lot, it's a lot more streamlined and your cost is lower
Oh,
with
that's cool.
coffee shops, because you could run it with a lot less people, but they're still adding that experiential component to it. So we're seeing that more and more. Also, other clients that they're what they're doing is they're kind of straying away from from the full service and just going into they're still doing full service, but like looking into doing just cold items. So no hot kitchen,
Oh,
less labor, just straight up, um, again, cold items. And so
That's
for very
cool.
specific, so that works. You know what I mean?
They
So
work really good in Canada. Hey, Dom. Ba-doom-boom.
but that's what we're seeing. So, but I definitely see it slowing down, but it's going to change.
You like that, Dom?
yeah, they work really
New
good.
franchise in Canada opportunity. Hey, fuck! We just found out how to take out Tim Hortons. Cold restaurant. Everything's cold.
Well, imagine like all the savings that would happen.
I know. No fryer, no heater,
None of that.
none of that shit. Fuck.
That's cool.
I know. It's brilliant. Sorry, Sebastian. Sorry. I jump on those ideas. That's brilliant, though. I do like it, though. I like outside of Canada. I think it's a cool idea. Do you find this, Sebastian? And I wrote down here Disney, because I always go back to Disney was created obviously out of the World War II. What was happening in World War II, and we always talk about, and we saw this through COVID, is when people are put into these stressful situations or these challenging situations, amazing things happen, right? Like industries be creative, innovative, and all these things happen. It comes out of these rough times. So, do you think that also what's coming up as we, say softly, it's going to be maybe a little bit quieter? Do you think there'll be some really like these ideas, like you're mentioning, more and more of those come out next year?
Yeah, for sure. We just have no way out, so we're going to find a way out.
Yeah,
It's right now we're just, as an industry, we're just forced to find ways to make it happen because it's not going to stop. People want to go out to eat. They're still going to go to restaurants. You know what I mean? The industry's not going to die. We just have to change. So whatever that's going to look like, more automation, more of that stuff, or more experiential,
yeah,
and so I definitely see an opportunity we're going to see a lot of innovation, I think, next year.
yeah. I think it's going to continue as well. I think we're going to, like, honestly, as we make fun of these kind of things in a sense, but I really think people are going to even stretch it further.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we make fun of them. I don't know. Like, is that? But is that not the story of the industry? Sort of like adapt or die, right? Like it's always in this. It's never constant, is it? Like if you went back and looked, Jay, there's been recessions, there's been massive growth, there's been catastrophes, there's weather, there's inflation, there's labor crunch.
Yeah,
It's always happening to the fruit. It's happening, period. But the food service industry has a big, all those things have a bigger impact You got a transient workforce. You don't have a stable workforce where people are staying in these positions. So there's always an influx of new people, right?
Mm.
You're dealing with commodities, right? You're dealing with food, as most of them are commodities, right? They're
Mhm.
none of the pricing, as much as we'd like to think it's stable, it's not.
Mhm.
It's not really that stable. It can fluctuate in a big way. So the industry is constantly facing those challenges, and that's part of the success. The successful ones know how to manage that, right? And they take it as a challenge, and they're saying like, yeah, we're gonna make it through this storm too.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's where, guys like Sebastian in your business, it's important to consider these things. I think a lot of them don't, but you know, there's there's a reason why advertising, if you want to call it that, marketing, but having a strategy around that is really important. And I'm going to say more so now than ever, because the messages it's crowded. It's
Hmm.
crowded out there. There's lots. There's people doing podcasts that shouldn't be, right, Jay?
Touche,
Yeah.
Touche.
touche, touche. So Sebastian, I want to. I've got a lot of questions here, and in fact, I love having marketing people on here instead of food safety check guys. Is I do want to say is one of the articles you have in your blog here is that, and I want to ask this question because there's a lot of questions came up today because I was meeting with a customer this morning or this morning that I'll be working with, and just incredible customer, and they were talking about um, marketing a lot.
Hmm.
And you have in one of your blogs here is, should you hire an in-house marketing team or an agency?
Mm.
I want to hear more on this subject because I hear this daily, like
Yeah.
literally daily.
Yeah.
What is your take on this? What's the answer? No, no, Dominic, shush.
Yeah. I think it depends on your size and the
Okay.
resources that you have. Simple as that. If and even if you're big, sometimes it does make sense to hire an agency. It just depends on what service you're looking for, the expertise. But if you're small, let's say below 15 units, 10 units, then that means you probably don't have the budget to hire a marketing team. So what happens is, and it was our experience, right? When we were growing, you
Yeah.
know, I couldn't handle everything in marketing. There's just no way. There's just so much to it. Paid ads, social media marketing, email marketing, SMS, your website, SEO, right? Google listing, like all of these things. So is a one-person show in marketing, everything's going to be half-assed. That's the truth. And so half-assed results, right? So when you're at that point, you need to look for help. So when you're looking for help, who are you going to hire, right? So agencies, yes, and marketing agencies, unfortunately, they have a bad rep because
I was
a
going to
lot
say
of,
they kind of do now, don't they?
yeah, well, listen, most of them just don't deliver, right? And I think there's a couple of things here that I think there's a misunderstanding also. Restaurant marketing, man, it's not e-commerce like I said. This is tangible results you get with certain things that you can measure. There's a lot of other things that you can measure in the moment. So you need to plan for the long term, and you really need to plan for brand building, which is a whole different perspective and the subject in itself. But a lot of restaurant owners just fail to see the value on that because they just want short-term results. It's like, oh, I want just quick wins, quick wins, quick wins. And you can have those, but at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. So going back to the question of hiring in-house, now when you get to a certain point where you can hire, let's say, the director of marketing, right? And you can hire somebody for social, have somebody for paid ads that can handle your email marketing and everything else with a three-person team. Now you're in a much better position. You'll still need a designer, so that design, that you could probably outsource that, but
Mhm.
you're gonna have that team. So if you can afford those salaries, then great. Another thing that you can do in some restaurants, but you need to be able to manage it properly, is to hire basically outside Canada or outside the U.S. You can hire in Latin America. You can hire in different places in the world, which your cost is going to be a lot less. The only problem with that is the language barrier, right? and how they work, and if you are able to manage a team like that, because everybody's remote, right? So
Well, and then back to the whole: do they know the market? Do they
right.
know I think
I've seen that too. You're right,
yeah,
Dom.
I think
That's
that
the thing.
that's sort of, it sounds good because it's a lot less expensive, but um, our personal experience with marketing is back to not necessarily an agency, but a small group, but having a what do you call it, fractional marketing, whatever you might want to call it, but having a team of people there is important when you're dealing with, they might be good at at marketing but not good at a lot of the other things, right? So that
Yeah.
it's it's a really important consideration. Like many things, often you sort of get what you pay for, right?
Yes,
But
100%.
the reality of that is I think, on for what you're doing, um, that the specialized groups that are specializing in one industry, they're not trying to be everything to everybody. The
Hmm.
value for money is better because there's no big massive learning curve of they
Right.
have to learn your industry or they have to learn your kind of what you're doing. They understand that already, so it makes it easier for them to get up and running, right? You ain't got months and months of of finding out who you are because they
Right.
understand the industry.
Yeah, no, definitely. So the only way that can work is, again, if you have somebody that's very qualified internally, and that person is directing the team outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Even then, it's complicated because, like you're saying, they don't understand the industry as well. It's going to take a long time to train, and they don't understand the market, also how things move. So the
yeah,
whoever's directing them needs to constantly teach them, and it's that, and so it really takes time to get to that place. So then the other option is, again, is hiring, of course, locally, but then figure that out, right? How many people you need internally? How much is that going to cost you? And how much is an agency going to cost you? It's a fraction
Yeah.
of the cost. You know what I mean? So if you can hire internally, that's the way to go, because you will have a team that can really execute when you're large enough, and you can do a lot of great things. And they can understand your culture. They're going to understand your business really well. They're going to be in all the meetings and all that stuff. So like you're absorbing all this stuff, right? So like you can get better ideas and all these things. But that's not the situation for everyone. And sometimes what we see is, with smaller restaurant groups, they just decide to go have one person that does everything, and it just doesn't work that way, you know. So I hope that
Dominic?
that answered your
yeah,
question.
yeah. Well, I think yeah, if you're lucky enough to have somebody internally that understands it,
Hmm.
and you're big enough, and most aren't. That Well, here's the thing, right? Most aren't. And I think back to Jay, I think we've said this on, for software and many other things inside of, when we do our shows, is 20 years ago the cost would have been astronomical,
Hmm.
and the challenge would have been bigger. So only big
Yeah.
groups could afford having somebody. And now, as things get specialized, you're specializing in this industry. Um, the value's better. You can get really good value. So I think people should consider it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Like I really do. And I think it's I first of all, I love what you do because I'm reading. I've looked at some of your blogs and stuff like this. First of all, killer website. I love it, but I do love like the way that you're tackling. Like I think you're very similar to what Dominic and myself think. Like that you're also looking at untraditional methods in a sense. Is that true,
Yeah.
Sebastian? Looking at untraditional ways to get people's brands out there and build their brands. Do you
Yeah.
find how important is building brand today? I know everyone says this, and don't give us the cliche shit that we hear it 1,000 times,
Yeah.
but we know it's important. But what's your take on it? Like, how do we improve it? How do we get everyone to do this? So many
So
restaurants don't.
listen, it's honestly, man, with operators, it's a pain in the ass if they don't. It's the truth, because they just don't understand
Hallelujah.
this concept
Yes.
of what that means. Firstly, when they first open, right? Eventually, if they have a business mind, we did an interview with this guy. He's from V&E Hospitality Group. It's a big group in Miami and Vegas. And we were talking about this stuff, about how investing in your brand and brand building, if you have a vision of your restaurant as a business and growing in the future, not just your, mom and pop's restaurant and it's going to stay just with one location. If you're really having that vision, then brand is everything, because it's not just about positioning and people recognizing your brand, but it's building the value of your business over time. So if you decide to sell at some point throughout the years and you grow, it's not just the cost or the value of your business itself, it's the value of your brand. So that's something that I think, especially small operators miss, because they're not thinking that big. You know what I mean? So, and some do, right? Because they do see that, but I think they want to see just immediate results, and they don't see the value in investing in brand and how long that really takes and how many resources need to be allocated to that.
I think that's the thing is the industry. I think a lot of restaurants want that silver bullet the next day, right? Like they want that, oh, fix it, it's gonna be all great. And even the one I mentioned today said like it's a marathon. Like this is a marathon.
Right.
And it's little wins. We need to celebrate these small wins along the way. I don't think they celebrate enough small wins either. They're looking for the big wins
Yeah.
as well, or quick wins. And like a lot of these successful businesses out there did not become successful over a year. It took a long time,
Right.
right? It took a long. Look at Dominic. It took a long time to be like the top food safety guy on Canada. Still,
Yeah,
still saying we got to work on your brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
No,
Canada's
but
food safety.
it takes a long time. Listen,
well, that should be the call to action to get started, right? Don't wait. Don't continue to wait.
Yeah.
Is
No, don't.
it's hard, back to I think what you said earlier, right? There's lots of challenges facing the industry,
Mhm.
but I think successful brands. Our business changed when we changed how we approached it.
Mhm.
Just for us, I mean, we're not in the we service the food service and hospitality industry, but we're not directly in it. But I think for any brand and probably for any business, it's probably true. I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy, except to say that the longer you wait to start, the longer it's going to take.
Right.
Right. So you have to start. Um, if they're lucky enough to work with a company like yourself that specializes in it, that's an extra good start, because you're going to hit the ground running, and you're going to have a lot more insight as to what works and what doesn't.
Right. Right.
So
But
so start back to the whole get out there and find out, like, and get rid of your old preconceived ideas of what things cost and how it works, and because a lot of things have changed, and everything being digital is one of them. You can't just do coupons anymore.
right. Right. So it's like, how do you? It just depends on the operator. But when you ask them, or a lot of small operators, you guys even have a brand book? Like, wow,
Oh,
now we just
that's a
have.
great question.
Most don't.
No,
Absolutely
most
not.
don't. They have a logo that some guy in the Upwork, or I don't know, they got somebody's cousin to do that, and it looks cool, and they just throw it onto their site, and that's it. And but when again, they're not thinking of the future and growth and investing in these things that are really important to build a brand. So I'm gonna spend $5,000 or $10,000 in a brand book. There's like, they don't see the value in it. They just, because again, it's just immediate results. They're not seeing the future of what it's going to turn into, right? But of course, going into, if it's your first restaurant, you don't know if that's gonna flop or not, because that's the reality.
Mm.
So for sure, it doesn't make sense in the first year of investing that much money in a
I
brand
think
book.
it's brilliant. That's actually the best question I think I've had in a while. Sorry, Dom. Is that, do you have a brand book? I think that is very powerful when you start looking at how do we help businesses, or how people can help businesses, is asking that question. That's because not I bet you no one has one up
No,
here.
most don't. We just had ours redone on our end. Like we just had it redone. We've done it 2 or 3 times because we're in this sort of, we're our branding's mixed up a little bit because and I'll say from our perspective, um, we don't have a professional that stays on top of it.
Right.
It comes back to doing it in house, and then you get a crazy idea and you do something, and it's like, okay, all of a sudden it's something different, and then people don't know the brand. And Jay, we spoke with some people the other day. They didn't know, you know, some very basic things within their own um, fairly big company. So it's tough. It is. It is. It's just it's really hard to stay on top of.
Yeah. And then
I was gonna
just,
say we don't know basic things, and I was gonna say that's us.
how do you maintain consistency, right, across your all your communication? Because that's what a brand book helps with, right? That, like, really defining who you are, what you look like, all everything, and all these things matter,
Yeah.
because that's how people
Mhm.
perceive you. You don't, like, any big brand in the restaurant business has invested in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Sebastian, what's the name of your company?
breath marketing.
Okay, cool.
It's a
Yeah.
good name
Yeah,
too.
it is a stunning website. It's very nice.
No,
Thanks, guys.
seriously, it's good. Like
Yeah,
honestly,
very cool.
yeah, yeah, way better, way better than mine.
And okay, do you limit yourself to a specific geographical area of people you work with, or you like the
No.
world's your customer?
Well, I'd say we work
Because
right now. We're working with only U.S. customers,
okay,
but now we're talking about we're in a Canadian podcast, so let's talk, man. I'm
Call
gonna.
me, call me, call me. We know a guy up here. He has Canada in his title. Right? No, why I say that, I think Dominic's point is that we need more up here. We do need more people that knows the industry, not just agencies or old people in agencies, not pointing at people in other parts of the country, but we need young people and people that are innovative and ideas like you have, Sebastian, and from what we see on your website and learning from you, we do need more of you up here in Canada. So come on up.
Well, we're open to do
It's
business.
not as cold as Dominic makes it out to be.
Sebastian, thanks so much for joining us.
No, it's a
Um,
pleasure.
the website is breadthmarketing.com. Check it out; it's very cool. I think Jay back. Yeah, does everybody need a podcast? That's questionable. Should every restaurant consider getting professional marketing involved? I'd say yes. I'm a firm believer in it. It took me a long time to be personally converted, but as soon as you got a pro on it, it's a
Yeah,
massive, massive, massive difference. It
right.
just consider it. Talk to somebody. Talk to Sebastian. Maybe you can be his first Canadian customer.
There you
Thanks so
go.
much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so
Thanks,
much, Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Oh, I cut him off.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I gotta hit that button.
But yeah, very, very cool. And I think
Incredible.
I
Incredible.
really like their approach, right? Because the fact that they're specialized.
I love the fact that he's from it too.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
not
Yeah.
some person that just trying to make money off people. Because there'll be heart and soul in this. And that's what I like.
Bye,
What
Jay.
do you mean? What the hell's this?
Bye. I gotta say bye. I
You
gotta
gotta
say
go.
bye.
Gotta
I
go.
gotta
Gotta
go.
go, Dominic.
Gotta
Gotta go.
go.
You
Yes.
gotta go. You gotta go. You got the
Go.
old, you got an old man pee. You gotta go for an old man pee.
Bye, Jay.
All right.
Play the outro, Jay. Play the
You want
outro.
the outro? Okay, here we go. Here we go.